Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Aderonke Adewi. If you're new here, hi, welcome. And if you're a returning subscriber, hi, welcome. Thank you for tuning in as always. I make videos on just Christian topics, how to be a Christian in this world. I just want to talk about the heart check, your heart posture before God. As Christians, we know that we answer to God, we seek His approval. So this is important to always make sure that your heart is right before God. Why do you do what you do? Why do you give? Why do you pray? Why do you do whatever you do? Your why really matters before God. All over scriptures, we see how God intends and how God brought into questions people who have a wrong attitude, a wrong heart before Him. All over scriptures, we see how God points this out. And the first text that we see this, where God really questions the heart, or where God shines on how He judges and how He approves men, was in the case of David when he was going to be anointed, and God had sent Samuel to his house, to his father's house, to go anoint him. And upon seeing every of Jesse's son before he saw David, Samuel thought to himself that, oh, definitely this is the one God had chosen, just by looking at his stature, his appearances and everything. Oh, he's probably like tall, broad-chested, fit for battle. And Samuel judged wrong. Humans, of course. We always judge wrong all the time. And God told him, He says, this is not the one you are to anoint. God judges on the inward appearance, but men look at the outward appearance, which ought not to be so. But unfortunately, that is how it is in our society. Men look at the flashy things to judge you. Men judge you based on how flashy you are, on the flashy car you drive. They respect you based on how you dress, how you speak, just the useless things of life. Literally, that's how men judge, right? Things that does not really matter, rather than judging you based on how you treat other people. But we see here that God corrects His servants immediately, that no, I don't look at the outward appearance as men do, which also tells us that this is a secret before God. Like this is like God giving us a cheat code right here, that if you really want me to take note of you, then make sure your heart is right always, as much as you can, right? As much as you can help it. Make sure your heart posture is right always before Him. As David says, let the words of my mouth and let the meditation of my heart, let it be pleasing before you. And I also think this is probably one of the reasons why David was a man after God's heart, because two scenarios, right? I mean, minus the mercy of God and all of this, we also need to check it. So Saul sinned against God, right? God had told him to destroy the Amalekites and destroy everything. But Saul disobeyed, half obedience. He destroyed everyone, and then kept the ram, the sheep, like just the fatness, everything, wanting to sacrifice to the God of the people, to the God of Samuel. And when God passed the judgment on him, what did he do? He didn't really do anything. He didn't go back to God to say, oh God, I am sorry. I know this is what you told me to do, but please have mercy. Please forgive me. I am sorry. He didn't do that. Well, it wasn't recorded in the Bible, right? That was not his immediate action. Whereas David, when he sinned, right, the sin that broke his family, right, that made God pass the judgment upon him, that the sword will never leave you. He took another man's wife and he had that man killed in battle. And this was a man who was loyal to him, and he had him killed in battle. And then God told Samuel to go tell him this is what's going to happen to him. And immediately Samuel delivered the message. Wait, was it Samuel or Nathan? Okay. Bible study check. Okay, I think it was Nathan, the prophet Nathan, that God sent to David, where he gave the story, the parable, like, oh, there was a farmer and this, yeah. And God told him, and immediately he realized that the story was talking about him and what he had done. He was broken immediately, and he prayed to God. That was where he brought out Psalm 51. Create in me a clean heart, O God. That is a man who's, yes, he made a mistake, but his heart was right before God. And we see what God did. God was merciful, and God gave him Solomon, who was the only sane child. I mean, before he ran after strange women. But we see, like, those are two scenarios, and what each one of them did, like afterwards, was different. Saul couldn't care less. But David, because his heart was with God anyway, he wasn't after God for what he could get. He wasn't after God because, oh, God is going to make me king. God is going to do this for me. You know, I just have to pray to God. He's going to answer all my prayers. No. Yes, God would do all of that. But what if he doesn't? Would your heart still be with God? The posture of the heart is really important to God. I pray that the Holy Spirit is going to minister to you, that every time you want to do whatsoever you want to do for God, whatsoever you want to do in the service to God, it will be from a place of love, because you love him, because you love his people, because you love those who are lost. It's not going to be so you will be seen. Jesus Christ said, when the Pharisees questioned his disciples about, oh, why does your disciples, why do they eat without washing their hands? And Jesus responded to them that Isaiah prophesied rightly about you people. Isaiah said, you worship me, you honor me with your lips, but your heart is not with me. That shouldn't be the case. That shouldn't be the case. Let your heart be with God. Let your lips also utter what your heart is convicted about. Don't give God eye service. Don't give God lip service. God sees beyond the facade. He sees beyond the, oh yeah, let's just do this. Oh, okay. No, he sees literally everything. He sees the heart. He sees your thoughts. There are so many stories in the Bible where Jesus Christ, perceiving what someone else was saying, replied. For example, Nathanael under the fig tree. Another example is the case of when Jesus was invited by a Pharisee to come dine with him, and there was a woman who came and broke an expensive alabaster box before Christ, right, at his feet, and wiped and washed and cleaned his feet. And someone at the table thought that, oh, she shouldn't have done that. I think it was Judas Iscariot. You shouldn't have done that. You should, sell it and give it off to the poor or something. And Jesus answering them, he sees their hearts. He answered, when I came to your house, you didn't welcome, you didn't wash my feet, you didn't do anything. But this woman, she has done this. Also, the widow's offering. When everyone, Jesus is so funny. So he came to the church, and the place he decided to stay was at the offering box. And when everyone gave their offering, Jesus Christ said, this widow has actually given the most, because she gave everything she had. That was her heart before God. That is not to say the other people, like, it's not, yes, give your offerings and your gift before God, but the heart with which she gave was of immense value to God than what every other person who probably had like much more than she did. So many other stories in the Bible. As Christians, the take home from everything I've said is always check your heart. Whatever you want to do, be motivated by love. Don't do it with selfish ambitions. Don't do it for self accolades. Don't do it for men's applause. That is actually nothing. I would have one God's approval than 1,000 and million of men's approval, because it's nothing. And I also hope that is your posture as well. So yeah, that's all for today. I hope, like David, this will be your prayer. Father, let the words of my mouth and the thoughts of my heart, the meditation of my heart, let it be acceptable before you, my God, my strength, my fortress, and my defense. And that's the end of this video. Please like, share, comment if this has blessed you, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.